I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Invocation.
Glorious and blessed God, we place our work and ourselves into your hands. Anoint our creativity, our ideas, and our energy so that even the smallest task may bring you honor. Bless us with wisdom, discernment, and commitment. Rooted in your love, may we all be done. May your will be done in your name. Amen.
Amen. Let's go ahead and start the review of the 2020, the workshop to order.
Yes, sir. Chairman, Directors, I'm going to ask Eric Davila to come up here and just go briefly over the 2020 annual report for submission to the Texas Department of Transportation.
Thank you for that. Good afternoon, Director, Chairman. As is customary at this time of year, we prepare the annual report, which is in essence a summary of activity on all the projects. So very highlight level of what it is we do every month, and the PM report essentially rolled up into a report manner. The last attachment on page 14 is a table that shows the budgeted projects, the completed projects, and future projects. Essentially, TxDOT wants to know what it is that we've completed to date. We keep track of that, which is the US 281 project that we have basically the construction pending on 365 Fourway, and that we're working on IBTC phase 1. We also put into the planned projects the I-69 connector, in which we are a stakeholder on, and provide feedback and attend every meeting that TxDOT invites us to, and to the public, so that we make sure that that mutually beneficial project to the region continues forward as everybody intends. So unless there's any questions about the report itself, I'd be happy to entertain any.
Are there any questions?
No.
Thank you for the information, Eric. Go ahead and call the meeting to order, Pilar.
Yes, sir. Chairman, the first item on your, and we have no public comment, Chairman. We have no one signed up for public comment for the record. The first item is item 1A, report on program manager activity for the 365 towing project and the IBTC environmental clearance document. Again, Eric Davila will give you a brief report.
Thank you.
For this particular item, I'm going to share a PowerPoint, which is also in your packet under 1A. Essentially, slide number 6 is where I would direct you all's attention to, which is essentially the schedule for the 365 tollway. So, you know, this year has been full of different types of surprises, and one of the latest developments on this project is our ability to try to head into this key date, which I have highlighted here in dash outline, where we're at the phase where we're trying to work with TxDOT on maintaining the April 2021 letting. In order to do so, we anticipate that by early this year, especially once the 2021 UTP update is completed, which they intend to wrap that up in either December or the latest in January. So this may float by another month, and we'll definitely keep y'all updated on that. Pending the culmination of that process, then the commission can read the minute orders to program the gap funding into the 365 project. Once that step is completed, then all other steps follow with the federal government, so that we can have what's called the release to advertise letter from TxDOT. So which we anticipate to be here in March, again, latest in April, to then initiate the remainder of the process to get the project to letting. So the good news is that we're still on track. And again, anything there accelerates or changes, we'll be sure to update everyone. So are there any questions at this time on this process?
Okay.
Nope.
Hearing
Are there
none?
any questions?
No, sir.
Go ahead, Eric.
And the other news is particularly with this project, in order to get this project released, we have a few items on the agenda, which obviously Pilar will cover a little later under regular agenda. These will involve some GEC support. As we head toward taking the project to the bond market, we will need a GEC report. Obviously, their involvement and buy-in and everything that we're going to be taking to letting in 2021. So a lot of the items here are to gear up for that. So with that being said, there's more work to be done, but everything seems to be on schedule, and we'll stay that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Pilar, consent agenda.
Chairman, we got one more report. Item 1B is a report on 365 total project financing activities. Richard Ramirez is tied up at another engagement, but we have Colby Eccles with Hilltop Securities on the line to give the board a brief report. Colby?
Thank you, Pilar. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Good afternoon, Chairman, Directors. Don't have much to tell you today. We are waiting on TNR numbers in mid-December. At that time, we'll be able to update financial information and provide you more information. We have submitted our financial forecast model to TxDOT. It's included the VRF new money and refunding that we did a couple months ago, but it also assumed the old TNR rates. So that's really the only thing that we've done since our last discussion. Did want to let you know that rates are still holding very good. Treasury rates have gone up about 14 basis points month over month, but this 365 project is going to be funded with tax exempt rates, and tax exempt rates month over month have actually decreased about 15 basis points. So we're still in good shape as far as rates go. And be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Do you foresee any concerns going into, the financing phase of this project?
No, sir, I don't think so. I think rates are going to hold steady. The taxable rates have increased because of the vaccine announcements that we've had.
Right.
But we don't really see tax exempt rates move.
Okay.
I think we're going to be good for a while.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Kobe.
Yes, sir.
Chairman, the Director, the next item on your agenda is the consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered to be routine by the governing body and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, if discussion is desired, that item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Chairman, we ask that you approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 2C, the financial report for October 2020. We're unable to get the financial report completed in time. We're having some software updates, and we're having to add the new funding sources for the series 2020A and 2020B. So we'll send those out under separate cover to the board, and then we'll just have the October and November financial reports at the December meeting.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the exception of item C?
No move.
Moved by Alonso,
Second.
second by Forrest. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries.
Chairman, item 3A is resolution 2020-31, approval of an interlocal cooperative agreement between the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority and the Hidalgo County Drainage District number 1. This is an interlocal that had been approved back in 2013 between the two entities to basically develop and construct the drainage outfalls for the 365 tollway and for the IBTC project. The agreement was initially a 2-year agreement with 3 one-year renewals, and it expired in 2018. And so we'd like to renew this agreement to finish up the grading job calls for the 365 project. The terms and conditions have not changed. Staff recommends approval.
Can I get a motion by Forrest? You get a second?
Second.
Second by Alonso. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item B.
Yes, sir. 3B, Resolution 2020-32, approval of amended and restated work authorization number 1 to the professional service agreement with HCR Engineering to provide general engineering consultant services for the 365 tollway program management support. So this was originally approved back in February 2019 by the board of directors, and subsequently the original work authorization was under the scope was under a different scenario when we were going to award the contract, or we had awarded the contract to Johnson Brothers, and so we were had a little bit different scope. So what we're doing is we're revising the scope of services to reflect the project as is being presented right now for letting. And so the dollar amount doesn't change, just the scope changes. So there's no increase in dollar amount from the original work authorization 1. Staff is recommending approval as presented, and the amount is to remain the same at $301,579.58.
Is the scope any different?
Yes, it is. No, the scope is different. So there's 2 main items in this scope. One is the GEC report, which we need to finance the project. And then the second portion of it is for them to evaluate the estimate of probable cost for the project. I think we've got almost 500 bid items on this project. So they're going to go through those bid items and check our, come on, you want to get they're going to check our estimate of probable cost to make sure that our current estimate of $255 million is still accurate. We want to make sure that that's a good estimate before we go out to bids. And so those are the primary 2 components within the scope. The prior scope had more value engineering, really, and the things that we were going to do under the Johnson Brothers scenario.
So the scope of work about the same?
The GEC portion of it, yes, and then the estimate of probable cost is the portion that's kind of changed. So it's about half of it is about half of the cost is to produce a GEC report, and the other half of the cost is to evaluate all of the 400 and some odd unit prices that we have in the contract to make sure our estimate is still accurate. This is a $255 million project, and so we want to make sure we don't have a bust in the estimate, because that could result because of the huge quantities. Because this is over a 12-mile project, we want to make sure we don't have a bust in the estimate that could result in a significant change order.
Okay. Are there any questions? If not, can I get an entertain a motion for resolution 2020-32?
So moved.
Motion, can I get a second from Frank? Second? Can I get a second?
Second, Rick.
Thank you, Rick. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, Pilar?
Chairman, the next item is item 3C, resolution 2033, approval of work authorization number 2, the professional service agreement with HCR Engineering for the general engineering consultant services for the 365 tollway roadway construction contract and letting project. This work authorization is in the amount of $125,723.03. This item is for the general engineering consultant to check the quantities in the plan. We have 2,770 plan sheets to check the quantities in those plan sheets versus the estimate. Again, it's quality assurance to make sure that we don't have a bust between the plan sheets and the estimate sheets. so that again, we won't result in a significant change order down the road because we have an error. So we're asking, again, this is something that the engineers have checked. Ramon and Eric spent quite a bit of time checking it, but we want a third set of eyes because again, we've got over 400 bid items, and we've got, in some cases, millions of, in the order of magnitude in the millions for the quantities. So we want to make sure we don't have any significant errors. Staff is recommending approval in the amount of $155,723.03 for a revised contract amount of $427,302.61.
Are there any questions regarding work resolution 2020-33?
Pilar, just for clarification, it's new to me, but I wanted to ask why the 301-579 is on this one and it's also on the previous one that we just talked about.
Because 301 is, if you look at the item, 301 is what's already approved, and then we're adding 125,723 to it. And if you go down to the very bottom, on the page that says work authorization summary, it shows the revised. So we show what we've already approved, what we're proposing to add, and then the new revised total.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other questions? If not, can I get a motion for approval?
Mox, yes.
Can I get a motion for approval?
Yeah, Moxley, yes.
Moxie, a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Frank. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Chairman and directors, we have no further business for your consideration.
Okay. If there are no other questions, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment. Got a motion by Forrest and a second by,
Frank.
is that you, Frank?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Everybody stay safe.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Directors.
Thank you.
Thank you.